Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. Now, I just want to get straight to the point. If you guys are from here, you know that minimum wage is $7.25 per hour federally. Now, the reason why that's important is because the District of Columbia compensated slave owners $300 per enslaved person. Well, if you go over to a calculator and type in what is 7.5 times 40, that's the 40-hour work week, that's $300. Well, then if you go even further and technical, because you have to take out breaks, your 30-minute break for every day, and that's not including taxes either, that would be estimating that they believed that in 1862, they believe people that are working now federally are worth less than slaves. And so that's why I try to warn people a lot about these laws and stuff. In fact, there was a man that owned 1,092 slaves. Well, if you put that in your handy dandy little calculator, that's $327,000. Well, if you put that in another calculator that calculates interest and other things like that, you're looking at around $8.7 million in this current time. And so it would seem like just like they have billionaires now, they had millionaires back then. But apparently they think you guys are worth less than slaves from 1862. So I told you this is what civil rights mean. You guys are civilians. You guys are humanity, civilization, and you would like rights to not be turned into slaves. So, vote, get out there and correct these things. Up here in Illinois, it's $20 an hour, 15 an hour, and I am making well over that. So I would just hope you guys would like to start voting in your best interests. Thank you. And furthermore, what I find even more ironic about this FAFO moment is that they kept telling people that they didn't have reparations for certain communities, even though every other community had received reparations, and now those are all getting cut off, right? So a man had estimated reparations could be 1.4 to 7.4 trillion. That's just a rough estimate. Roughly 142,000 or 183,000 for every living African American today. They said it wasn't possible, right? But then when that virus hit, they spent over 5 trillion on giving all these Americans money and relief and everything else to help them. Just like when they bailed out the banks and the auto industry when Bush was in office, but they can't help anybody else or any of these small businesses. I told y'all how it works is for the money. And so this is going to continually happen until people wake up and realize that we're the people and we need to come together and stop bickering and fighting over stupid differences, acknowledge our cultural history and allow other people to shine and do their thing and get out of the way if you don't want to help, and let us do our thing and receive help and or build us up. I don't know what to tell people. The more y'all hate a community, it's bouncing back and destroying the rest of the world because you're then giving elites power that they don't need. So, whenever y'all ready to wake up and stop acting silly and get your lives right, y'all are shrilling for corporate fools and buffoons. So, let's get it together. Because there's also a couple things that I really haven't showed y'all. Give me a second. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Remember how they had the Southern plantation and it was so okay to do certain things to African Americans and whatnot? Well, then they extended over to the corporation plants or the corporate plantation. And it's just one form to the next. And what's even more ironic, they was paying more for slaves back then than what they are for labor right now for a week's pay. That's wild, ain't it? So, certain things come back around. People don't want to, conform and act right. Because then I could clearly show you, if you don't think that it could happen to anybody and how a person's own hatred will come back. Watch this real quick. Now, they had something called Operation Contra. Operation Contra was when they started putting drugs and defiling our neighborhoods because they couldn't murder and do other certain things anymore. And then they started creating crime bills, right? A lot of Democrats involved with that too. Well, then you go even further. Now, look. Now, this dude, his mother is from a Scottish country. His father is the birthright immigrant from a German grandfather, right? Trump's grandfather. His father is birthright citizenship from Germany. Mother from Scotland. Now has a wife, right, who's an immigrant. Now, if they're not DEI, I don't know what is. but they're out here attacking what they would call DEI. So that's why I try to tell people, certain things are happening, and you all need to wake up and um, get a hold of these things, because if you don't, what's going to happen is these elites are going to get more and more power. And as they grow in power, like if you look at a lot of these entities, they'll be like, you look up who owns what. It'll be like BlackRock, Vanguard, Apple, McDonald's, blah, 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 all the big ones. But then you look up who owns these. It's like the corporations owns the most shares. It's like, okay, who's the individual that owns the most private shares? And it'll be some petty small number, right? But then the actual billions of dollars of worth and all these millions of shares is owned by the corporation. They're turning it into entities that they can then harness private equity with. And a lot of the stuff they're treating like, what's the word I'm looking for? Money laundering. Like a lot of these churches that get huge all of a sudden and got somebody donating to them, but the pastor and the reverend and all of them is rich, and all these people, just like in African countries. A lot of these African countries are waking up to American and European slavery and hatred. So I hope a lot of you wake up too. So if you pay attention and notice a common conception, if you look at these states, you'll notice, look at all these southern states that would be considered the South back in the day, that they just are all red and they hate dimmies. But if you pay attention, look at how much these states are making up here in the North compared to what some of these southern states are making. And even the states that are in the North, notice what type of trend they follow and their location. And so I'm just trying to warn y'all, man, y'all are like voting against your own will all the time. And it's quite hilarious. It's like y'all are like lefty dimmies. Look at all them. They got all those rights and better health care and and they make more money. But it's like, what is wrong with y'all? I don't even know.